There's a lot of great features in Evernote that really make accessing your notes and your ideas really easy. But one of the most overlooked time savers is the use of shortcuts. That could be navigating through your notes with a click or speeding things up with keyboard commands. But using shortcuts will really help your productivity system, and I want to show you how. Plus, today, another question from a viewer. Dave Edwards here. One of the benefits of being an Evernote expert is that I get to participate in regular calls with some of the people who create Evernote and other Evernote experts. I always learn a lot from these calls. On one of our recent calls, we discussed how many Evernote users don't use shortcuts. I love shortcuts. They're a critical part of my workflow. And if you are one of those people who hasn't used shortcuts or shortcuts aren't a part of your regular Evernote routine, well, I want to show you how and why they are so important to me. So there are a couple of different kinds of shortcuts I want to show you. The first one is the one that appears in the left side menu when you look at Evernote. Now, I use a Mac, so I'm going to demonstrate this on my Mac. You see, I have one note already in shortcuts, but if I want to put this note, let's say this is a note about a client or a project I'm working on, and I want to make sure that it's right here so I can access it real quickly, even though it may reside in a different notebook for the client. All I have to do is come over here to the three dots, More Action, and I click Add to Shortcuts. And now you can see that that note has been added to shortcuts as well. Let's go over to notebooks. I have a notebook called Book Notes. Let's click on that one in my demo account. And if I come to the three dots now for more actions in this notebook, I can add that to the shortcut menu as well. So now that is in my shortcuts menu. If I decide later that I no longer want it in my shortcuts, I come over to the three dots and I can remove it from my shortcuts just as easily. That saves me a lot of time when I have the notes that I want to use quickly right here in that left column. So when I was on my experts call and they said that now that you can control what appears in this left side column, and a lot of people have turned off shortcuts, I really scratched my head because this is such a time saver for me. The other kind of shortcut are keyboard shortcuts. I use this all the time, and this is a real time saver as well. You can find all of the shortcuts on Evernote's website. I'll post a link to that in the notes below. And as you can see, there's plenty of them. You can again, this is for iOS, but there's also a similar one for Windows. You can hit this little symbol and an N, and you'll create a new note or a new notebook if you're in the notebook phase. There are some shortcuts that are no longer available that used to be available, but you should probably take a look at this list because I find some of these to be extremely helpful as I am creating a note. I mean, you're welcome to not use these keyboard shortcuts or to remove the shortcuts from your menu of Evernote, but as I said, I find them to be extremely useful. If you don't for some reason, I'd like to know why. Post a comment below. I like answering questions about Evernote and productivity, and while I can't answer every question that people send me, I try to help where I can in these videos. And Peter emailed me this. He wrote, "The last time I reset my password, I had problems. I couldn't even see my notes, and I'm afraid of resetting my password again." Before I answered Peter's concerns, I emailed him back to see if he fixed the problem since it's been some time since I got the email. And he told me the day after he reset the password, his notes magically reappeared. That's not the first time I've heard this issue. I got a couple ideas if this happens to you. Make sure you are using the right account. See, I have two Evernote accounts, my personal account and my public demo account. Other people I know have a work account and a personal account. But each one of my accounts has a different login name and a password. And once in a while, I do get them confused. So that's the first thing you should check. And as Peter found out, sometimes you have to be a little patient. Wait for Evernote to resync your notes, and hopefully they will reappear. I've never heard of anyone where they permanently have disappeared. And now I'm probably going to hear from somebody who says they lost their notes completely. It's just never happened to me, never happened to any of my clients. And quite frankly, I've never really heard of an issue like that. Hey, if you have a question about Evernote, send me an email. I might use it in a future segment. You can email me at daveedwards@outlook.com.